everyone, and welcome to Marketing and Sales Over Cocktails, the weekly podcast that helps you grow your business, improve your life, and enjoy yourself along the way. I'm your host, Alan Langer, and every week we try to bring you the best thought leaders, the best business leaders, and the best minds out there to help you succeed in business and in life. So sit back, relax, grab your pad, your pen, and your favorite beverage, and enjoy the next episode of Marketing and Sales Over Cocktails. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Marketing and Sales Over Cocktails. Guess what episode we're at? We're at 59 tonight. We are one shy of 50. My guest is very upset that she's not number 60, but it's just the way the chips fell. But Aleya Harris is going to be joining me in a few seconds, and she is kick-ass, badass, whatever you want to call her. I'm very excited that she's here tonight to tell us about some marketing and how she got her whole business started. But before we get to Aleya, just a couple of quick notes. Like I always talk about, the podcast website is marketingandsalespodcast.com. You go there, you can find every episode. You can leave some reviews. The reviews go right onto Apple iTunes, always appreciated. And also the important part is the Ask Alan segment. You click on that little button at the top. You send me a question. If we read your question live on the air, you get a free signed copy of my book. And we've got a pretty good question coming up tonight from Jessica over in Cape Cod, Massachusetts, which is pretty close to me. So I am very excited. I have Aleya Harris tonight joining me on Marketing and Sales Over Cocktails. Aleya, welcome to the show. How are you?
Thank you so much for having me, Alan. I am great because I think this is probably the only podcast I've ever recorded where it was obligatory to bring a drink.
Yeah. Well, so, speaking of that,
cheers to you.
you have to tell the audience what you're drinking.
I am drinking some Hibiki Harmony whiskey. I'm a big
Japanese whiskey
fan. And for those of you who are watching the video, I know the glass is gorgeous, but technically it's supposed to go in, but the glass is too pretty to not.
I would expect nothing less of you than to have a gorgeous glass, very fashionable. Well, cheers. I have a little tequila, some reposado tonight. So cheers into the camera, virtual cheers. Thank you. Aleya is joining us from Los Angeles. So we are 3 hours apart. So she's getting a little early start to her imbibement tonight, but it's 9 o'clock for me. So I'm good. So
I used Alan as an excuse. I told my husband, I said, so I'm just going to stop working at like 6, and this is going to be me and the homie Alan having a good conversation over some alcohol.
Absolutely. I had one guest. This is like 20 podcasts ago. She's a virtual friend of mine, and she hardly ever drinks, but she's like, I'm going to drink for your podcast. And she bought like 4 or 5 bottles, and she had them on her desk, and she's like, so what do I do with this one? She had like sweet vermouth, and she had cream de mint, and she had scotch, and she had all these different things. It was hilarious. Should I take a shot of this?
Oh my gosh, she's sitting there shooting sweet vermouth. That would be funny.
Yeah, that would be funny. So it was funny. I've had quite a few funny characters because of the cocktail theme, but it's good because that's the theme of the show. We have fun. We don't want to have a stuffy marketing and sales podcast. It's a lot of fun, and it's also, as my listeners know, we don't just talk about marketing and sales. We talk about life a lot. We talk about business success in general. And that's a good segue because you are a very successful woman business owner. And I love that. And I try to have badass superpower women on my show because I think I have 2 daughters. And I think it's very important for the world to know that you guys are out there and you're kicking ass doing it. So I want to know, first of all, tell everybody what you do. You own a company called Flourish Marketing.
I do.
Tell everybody how that started and what Flourish Marketing does.
Flourish Marketing started because I realized that cubicles make me itch. So I have had a very interesting career, which we will get into, but my most recent gig before I started or during my start of Flourish Marketing was I was the head of marketing for North America for a large corporate food service and facilities management companies. And I was like, this is for the birds. I loved my team. I love marketing. So that wasn't the problem. It was just stuffy. And I didn't feel like what I was doing was actually making a difference. And I couldn't bring my whole self to my job. The company was conservative. It was a Danish-based company, lots of bald white men. I don't know whether you've noticed or not, but I am not a bald white man.
You know what? Now that you say that,
Now that I mention it, you see it now,
you
right?
do have hair, yeah. You're not bald.
And it was very stuffy and stodgy, and I'm not, opposed to traditional corporate environments. There's an environment for everyone, but that one was not for me. And I was doing well. In one calendar year, I got a 547% marketing ROI. I was doing great. My team and I were rocking it, but I was dying a little every day inside.
Yeah.
So while I was there, as a true type A Enneagram 3, I decided to also start a marketing agency.
While you were there?
While I was there, because why not? And so I started Flourish Marketing, which at the time was called Food and Beverage Media and Marketing, because I have a background as a chef as well. And I'm like, okay, let me just talk to my people. Like I love the food and catering and events industry because it's not pretentious. These are like down to earth, loving, caring, hospitable people. And I miss that. And the best part is that they help other people live their best lives, have those moments that they cherish forever. And then you get to be a part of that. And I wanted to enable more of that. And then I've now also started transitioning into other non-food and event businesses that help people thrive and they make people better. And I think that we need better human beings on this planet. And I am standing behind anything that does that. So I started Flourish because I was tired of not bringing my whole self to work.
So when you started Flourish as a part of this corporate structure, did you call it Flourish? And what was your, did you come up with, what was your mission statement?
Corporate structure. It was just that I was doing it at the same time.
You was just doing some extra stuff on the side.
Yeah, extra stuff on the side. And it was called Food and Beverage Media and Marketing. And it was all the things. I was like, I don't really know what I want to do. I can do all the things. So I was like, I'm doing website design. I'm doing full funnel development, social, presentation development, ads. I was doing it all.
Wow.
And then I'm like, I don't like doing this all. If I'm going to do what I want to do, I'm going to love it and not, I'm trying not to burn myself out I'm doubly burn myself out. Right. Mm-hmm. So I decided, and I eventually navigated myself into doing strategy and copy. And that's what I love. I'm a really good copywriter, and I'm better now that I'm able to be more authentically me, because that's what copywriting is. I'm a story brand guide, right? So me and other story brand guides kick it. And
I am as well, by the way.
Yes.
Yep.
One of the things I like about Alan, he gets me. We speak the same language.
Yes.
And I was hanging out, and they were like, your copy sounds so authentic, and it's authentic to whatever the brand is. And it doesn't always sound like me. You have a point of view and a voice. And I said, I could only get there once I got that within me. I couldn't get there if I was still trying to fit into somebody else's bubble. It's hard to have empathy for somebody else when all your energy is spent trying to stay rigid and be who someone else expects you to be. So right. I can put myself in the mind of I don't have any kids yet, but I sales pages for parenting courses and, hairstylists and books that have launched and all kinds of other stuff I can write copy for and train my team to write copy for, because I finally figured out that you don't need to mess around with somebody else's idea of you. You can just be you.
Just be you. Yeah. I might have to hire you to write my sales copy for my upcoming online course. So we'll have to talk about that off the air.
I'll do that. Cheers.
Cheers to that. All right. So you decided to start this. When did you decide, okay, I'm taking the plunge. I'm going in, I'm diving in. This is going to be full-time. I'm quitting my job. Were you at the point where you're you were making enough money, or was it a big risk to do it?
You know what, Alan? I would love to sit here and tell you that as a strong Black woman, I made that decision. I adjusted my crown, and one day I just stepped out into the universe. That is not what happened. I got laid off, Alan. So it's so funny. I spent my whole, like, in my brain, and I'm very much into manifestation and putting yourself out there and doing clearing and doing the work and programming for what you want, right? And so I was doing all of that. So this is what was going on in my head. Oh, I hate this job. I hate this job. I hate this job. I love the people. I love the work, but I don't feel like me. I want to do my own thing. I want to make money for my own thing, but I hate this job. But I want to stay in the job. I want to stay in the job though, because I make a lot of money. So like, don't take me out of the job, but I want to be out of the job. I mean, can you understand why God was just like, girl, please?
Yeah.
And just totally took me out of it totally unexpectedly. I had just come back from getting certified as a story brand guide. They paid for me to be certified, $10,000, flew plus all air travel, plus food, plus hotel, plus everything. Like, because I traveled a lot, so me traveling wasn't a big deal. But so I was like, okay, they're gonna send me. I'm trained. I come back 2 weeks later, they lay me off. And I'm like,
that's such a corporate move. That's unbelievable. When did you get certified? When was that?
February 2020.
Oh, because I was the class before you. I was December 2019. Wow. I was the class right before you.
Wow.
Over in Nashville. So
Nashville was great. The time was great. I ended up with, it was the best thing ever.
Oh, but yeah, it was awesome.
I didn't get to make the choice to take the plunge. I was told those golden handcuffs are coming off because I was very blessed to make a very nice salary. And I liked seeing that check every 2 weeks, like clockwork. It was gorgeous.
No matter what.
No matter what, it came. And I do consider it an accomplishment that I never went back to work. I never got a job. I never missed a payment on anything. My husband and I are still fine. We're planning to go to Hawaii next month. Like,
oh, good for you.
So now, am I going to sit here and be like, and I just did that all while eating bonbons and wearing my pink lipstick? Like, no, working my ass off, like 14-hour days, 7 days a week. But I was like, I had to have a come to Jesus moment with myself. I was like, Aleya, you made that company you were with millions of dollars. If you can make that company millions of dollars, you can at least replace your own little measly salary, right? Come on. And at the same time, my husband's in his doctorate program, and I'm like, all right, let's do this thing. Like, I told him, I said, I'm going to do this, and I did it. And I feel super accomplished. Now I grew from me and a website, which I completely blew up in March 2020 because I changed my name. I changed the direction slightly. I changed from food and beverage media and marketing to Flourish marketing, got a new click, got a new direction, everything. Now I have 10 people that are on my team, and we're just going.
Okay, so I need to stop you there. So you basically, this is being recorded now. This is not coming out until August, but we are recording this in the end of March of 2021. So you're essentially, your company's what, a year old, maybe?
Yes. I celebrated with whiskey a couple weeks ago.
Okay, so you're just over a year old. You're celebrating a year, and you already have 10 people working for you.
They're contractors. They're not W-2 employees.
That's okay, but I have to tell you, that is an unbelievable accomplishment in 12 months, because I've been doing the same thing. You know, I went from selling full time for years and years and years to finally writing my book. And then the book became a bestseller, and that turned into speaking. And then that turned into, oh, wow, I can do this. And then this large company that wanted me to do sales training, she's like, I'm going to send you out to get trained for Story Guide because I want you to do marketing for me too. So she paid for that.
Hey,
you're right. It's 10 grand.
Pays for it.
Oh,
10 grand.
Awesome. 10 grand. Right. So,
but to do what you every year.
Oh yeah, it's crazy. But, to do what you did in 12 months is remarkable. And, I really hats off to you, because I know what it's like. I've been there. There's a lot of people listening who know what it's like. And, if you had to share anything besides working your ass off 14 hours a day,
which I would not recommend as a long-term strategy, by the way.
No, it's not a long-term strategy, but it is a strategy that most solopreneurs start with. I did the same thing. I was up to 3 o'clock in the morning for 8 months trying to figure this crap out because COVID killed everything. As you know, that was another thing. You started this business during COVID.
I started it during a pandemic, specifically marketing to wedding professionals. It was awesome. Let me tell you.
Oh, that. So weddings with no weddings and events.
No weddings. I'm marketing to a target market who's broke. I'm like, oh my God, what have I done?
So what would you say besides the hard work? Was there anything else that you could point to that says, I'm glad I did this because this contributed to my success?
I got a publicist. So
really? Okay.
I told her, I don't care if I have to go and shake it my moneymaker on the street to pay you every month. I will pay you every month. It never came to that, just in case you were wondering. There are no videos on YouTube of me shaking my moneymaker. But I knew as a marketer, I needed an audience. I came from corporate. If I wanted to sell to corporate food service people and companies that had in-house cafes and facilities managers, I could do that, but I don't want to do that. So I was like, okay, I'm starting from scratch. I need an audience. I need people to know me, like me, and trust me, because until that happens, I won't have anybody to sell to. It would have been very different if I had started with a micro product, like a $20 product, but I'm like, I'm asking for thousands of dollars. So people need to know me and I need to be everywhere. So I was speaking at CaterSource. It was actually my second year speaking at CaterSource. But CaterSource was March 2020, the second week of March. And that's when I kind of count like that week before, that's when I started my company. Mm-hmm. It was like watching Armageddon happen. At this, like it was when I got off stage and started walking through the halls, and there were people. I literally saw someone in tears sliding down the wall on the phone because the governor had just closed her state. She just lost in the last 10 minutes like $200,000 because all her weddings were canceled. And I was like, there was crying, there was running, there was screaming, all these people down the hallway, and I'm like, what have I done? Like, what is happening? What have I done? But I had a mission. There was this one chick who I kept seeing people related to her. It was almost like I was following the spider web, and she was at the center of all the spider web of all the speakers that were on the stage that I was seeing. I was like, who is this chick? She was and still is the foremost publicist for the wedding industry. Her name is Megan Ely of OFD Consulting. Hey, boo. She's amazing. I basically like accosted her during the middle of this Armageddon scene. She was walking down the hallway too. And I said, I need to talk to you. I can't. I was very bold because I was looking around. I'm like, what's happening? She didn't know me from Adam. I was like, I know that this is about to be a problem, but I need to be everywhere. And you're the person who's getting everyone else everywhere. And she's like, okay, I'll call you. And she did. She's a very diligent person. And I beat her to it. I emailed her. She gave me her card. I emailed her as soon as I got back to my room. Mm-hmm. And she responded as, like the next day or whatever. We're in the middle of Armageddon. Who knows what time it is. And I started working with her immediately. I put that first month on my credit card and kept it pushing. And I was everywhere. And that's how I started. I knew I needed to build an audience, and why not go to someone who's pro at building an audience? I'm a marketer. I wanted to build my email list. I wanted to use ads. I'm not just relying on a one-trick pony. But if you know that there's someone who can get you in front of more eyeballs, that's what I did. She got me speaking engagements, wedding industry podcasts, guest blog posts, and people are like, "You're everywhere." I'm like, I know. But it's not just about getting connected with someone who is connected. It's about doing the work. Because she was like, okay, I'll give you, we'll pitch you to 4 outlets for guest blog posts a month. I'm like, how do I get more? She goes, well, we'll pitch you. You're doing the writing, so we'll pitch you everywhere. I said, pitch me everywhere. Right. So I wrote in 8 months 53 guest blog articles. Wow. And I recorded 19 podcasts, and I spoke 37 times. Because
the speaking is huge.
It's huge. And that's how I grew my audience. I was everywhere. And then I became like, this year, I'm a 2021 wedding pro educator because I was everywhere. People were like, who is this chick? She came out of nowhere. I'm like, yeah, I did. I came out of nowhere and I did the work. So that's my number one recommendation is find a way. It doesn't have to be a publicist, but find a way to not only be everywhere exactly where your ideal customer is hanging out, but to be prolific. I mean, like, you need to start coming up with content ideas until they start sounding silly to you. And it needs to be data-based and it needs to be correct. The problem right now with like things like Clubhouse, for example, I love Clubhouse, big fan of Clubhouse. But anybody has a platform on Clubhouse. So now people are coming to me when I do my discovery calls and I'm noticing a higher degree of trepidation. So how do I know that, like, you know what you're talking about? They're like, I'm not trying to offend you, but like, there's a lot of people out there right now that are just talking, saying that they know, and I don't want to waste my money. And I'm like, I get it. And I'm finding myself relaying my credentials more often, but I have an easier time when in my initial emails, I'm like, here, check my press page out. And they're like, oh, you were interviewed on Thrive Global? I'm like, yes, I was. Yeah. You know, and it's easier because of that press and because of the credentials. But you need to be everywhere. You need to have legit information that's database, and you need to show that you're not just, you know, any old body. Kind of.
So when you say legit information that's data-based, what do you mean by data-based?
So I guess I could say now, I've been gone for a year. Before I left my corporate job, we had something called IBIS World, which is one of those data research companies that you can input into their backend. It's like lots of money, not so much for your big corporation, but something that a solopreneur, entrepreneur will like.
Yeah, I think I've heard of them. Yep.
You can put in information about an industry, you can put in information about a job or an area, and it spits out like reports that are updated quarterly-ish. So when I started, before I left, I took that IBIS World and I worked it out, baby. I downloaded anything that could ever be potentially related to what I was doing, and I read it all. And then I said, well, this is the problem. They're having this problem. Okay, I'm going to solve this problem. I know that that's related. And then I pulled numbers. Well, I can say that our industry is X number of $1 billion. How much of that are you getting? Using numbers, using data will not only help you better attract your ideal customer because you're actually knowing what the issue is, and it will help you be an expert to your ideal customer because you're able to lay down facts like, you're part of an industry that is X billion dollars. Are you making X billion dollars? Clearly not. So how do you get a bigger piece of that pie? Let's help you with your differentiation and your messaging and your story. So it's much more powerful when you start from a hard rock data place. I also cheated. My husband's in my husband's a college professor, and he has academic research databases that he has access to. So I look up things that might not be immediately related. I look up psychology articles on like buying behavior or decision making, and then I integrate that into my content. But then I, reference the source. So it's really about making sure that you come across as more than just that person who did that one thing that one time in your own company and now you're talking about it. It's like doing that one thing that one time in your company is actually irresponsible if you go out and tell everybody that that's the only way to do it. Because you have to show that you have a replicable process that other people can use. There's too much to control for if you only did it once. Right? If you had one company and this was the one sales or marketing tactic that you use, if you're able to say, even if your own case studies, your data is your own case studies, well, I've done this multiple times. I can show you how to do it.
Right.
Yeah.
So here's a question I ask every marketing person that I have on. And I love this question because, and I'm going to tell you a funny story after you give me the answer. So,
oh man, I gotta wait till after I give you the answer.
Yeah, because I'm going to tell you a story that's related to this, and I'm going to see how you. I have a feeling I know how you're going to answer it, but I want to ask it anyway. So, you're a marketing company. You have ABC Corporation comes to you and says, "I want 100 leads a month for for this widget," whatever they say.
It's always funny when they say that, and I'd like that next month.
Yeah.
Have you done any marketing? No. Do you have a website? No.
No, right, exactly. But I want you to get me leads. So you come to the conclusion, okay, we can start. I'll get you 15 leads a month and it'll go up to 20, whatever it is. I'm going to get you the leads. You hand over these leads to this company. What I've seen in my experience is marketing companies stop there. Like, here are the leads. Go get them, Charlie.
Go after it.
Go after them. And they don't continue to show them how to actually close the leads or convert them. There's a sales process at the end of the marketing that hardly ever exists. And I always like, you're doing your client only a half of service. If you give them a bunch of great leads and they don't know how to have a sales call, what's the point? You're wasting good leads. Yep. And I actually had I was talking to a marketing lead company. They do leads on LinkedIn. And she had 2 clients cancel their contracts because your leads suck. And she's like, my leads are really good. I'm like, but you're not training them how to, you suck. You're not training them how to sell them. So what's your answer to that?
My answer to that is, as a responsible marketer, you have to look at someone's entire business system. You can't just look at your little piece of the pie. So an entire business.
I love you already. See, that's the perfect. The beginning of your answer is perfect.
And I'm done. And I'm out. No, you have to look at the entire piece of the pie. So I'm going to use a reference from Donald Miller's newest book, Business Made Simple. You can get it on Amazon today. In the book, he likens a company to an airplane. The body of an airplane is your overhead. You want the body to be light, because if the body's heavy, no matter how strong your engines are, you're going down. One engine is sales and one engine is marketing. If you only have one engine going, you're flying in a circle. You're never going to get anywhere, right? You need both engines going to not only stay sane and not fly in a circle, but to get lift and upward momentum. When I take on a client, I'm not a marketer. I am like, hey, baby, tell me what's wrong. Tell me what's wrong with your business and let's fix it. And often it comes down to messaging. Often it comes down, you have no marketing funnel. But it would be, again, I use the word irresponsible of me as a marketer to say, oh, yeah, no, you just need an email sequence. It'll be fine. Oh, you just need social media. Are you on Instagram? Oh my God. It would be irresponsible of me. I need to say, okay, so are you getting leads? What's the quality of your leads? What's your conversion rate? How are you measuring those conversions? So we're using real information, not stuff you made up on a napkin because you had this disco call with me and like 5 minutes ago, you figured you needed to get some information about your business. Like, you have to really walk people through. And sometimes they might not need you. And you need to be okay with that. I've talked to people, I'm like, well, actually, your emails sound fine. It just sounds to me like you're not closing. Like what you're saying, I was like, you're not closing the deal. You're getting them on the call. So I'm like, if you're getting 15 leads a month and they're only closing 1, your conversion rate sucks. And that's not a marketing problem. It could be a messaging problem and them not understanding how to take their messaging all the way through from their emails to their sales call. Absolutely. But most of the time, it is a sales technique. Could even be a sales process and a follow-up technique. Are you just straight up dropping people? Do you talk to them once and never follow up with an email?
Never follow up, right?
Right. What happens there with that?
Right.
As marketers, we are the people who are saying we will bring the money to you. Unfortunately, many marketers have a scarcity mentality. So they say, I'll bring the money to you only if you work with me, and I have to hold on to every lead I get. And they're captive in my vice grip because I need to work with everyone. I need to squeeze money out of everyone. Honey, open your hand up and allow more abundance to come your way. We are the money makers. If you don't have an abundance mentality, you're not going to make money for your clients, and you definitely aren't going to make money for you. You need to come from a place of service. Your job as a marketer is to help your client build lucrative relationships. What does that look like? Are they not attracting them? Are they not building the relationship in the end? Are they not closing the deal? Right? What is it? And if you can help them, great. If you can't, partner with a salesperson that you trust and refer them. But for me, I partner with an ads and analytics person because sometimes the data is just too fluffy. I can't come up with a strategy. I'm like, your Google Analytics are a mess. Like you have traffic, but I can't really tell, like, where is it? I mean, I guess it's coming from there, but I can't do a strategy off of this. You need to work with my analytics person. And she's the sharpest knife in the drawer, Christy Osborne from Mountainside Media. And when I work with her, I can get that hard data. It also allows me to like, oh, you need ads, go to her. You need this, go to them. Be okay with being a referral source. And eventually it all comes right back.
It all comes back, yeah. All right, so I'm getting on the next plane to Los Angeles, and we're having a drink in person because I totally love you. This is awesome. Yeah, I mean, it's funny. So here's the funny story I was going to tell you, and I may have said I may have told you definitely earned it. You definitely earned it. And I may have said this on the podcast at one of the previous 58. I apologize to my audience if I did, but it's worth repeating. So I would say this happened maybe the summer of COVID when I was trying to reinvent myself online because I was basically a speaker. I was like, I had my book. I had 8 speaking engagements scheduled. 7 of them paid, and COVID happened, and they all disappeared. Ugh, and all of my clients, my pipeline was for my speaking engagements. I'd walk away with a speaking engagement with, hey, can you call me for training? Can you call me? I had 67 contacts on LinkedIn in March of last year.
67 like connections? Like that's
67 connect. I had a profile like a lot. Like so I was on it, but I had never done anything with it because I never had to. With it. I never had to. And I'm like, holy crap. After I crawled up into a ball for 24 hours, I'm like, all right, what am I going to do here? And I had to reinvent myself on LinkedIn. So anyway, long story short, now I have over 9,000 because I figured out how to do it. But during that time, like you said, be prolific and put yourself out there. I was inviting myself on every webinar, podcast I could find. I was doing podcasts that had two listeners. I mean, like I was doing everything.
Yep.
And I got contact, and I didn't get contacted. I was doing my research, and I saw this day-long marketing summit. Okay, this marketing, like $1 million marketing agency out of a Midwest. I don't want to say their name, but they were in the Midwest. And they were doing like, this was like these 10 speakers from 8 in the morning till 7 at night, an all day event. So I'm like looking at all the speakers and I'm like, well, there's nothing about sales in this. So I emailed the lady who was running it. I said, hey, would you be interested in having a salesperson during your marketing day seminar? Her response back, you ready for this?
I don't know.
What do we need a sales guy in our marketing seminar for?
See, that's that shit I don't like. So, Alan, I don't know if everybody else knows about this, but there's like this age-old Bloods, Crips, what is it? Sharks? What's from West Side Story? The Sharks and the
Sharks and the Cribs.
What? Yes.
What? Yeah, Cribs or Crips or something. Yeah.
Between sales and marketing.
Yeah,
and
I know.
I don't understand. I don't understand why that's a thing. It's supposed to be a symbiotic relationship.
Well, you can't have one without the other. You really can't.
You really can't. You really, really can't. And you need to also kind of divorce some of the emotion from your business for a second and be like, okay, what tools do I have at my disposal? Well, if I need to ramp up, like I need to just hit it hard. Well, my salesperson, I can be like, hey, I'm going to double your commission. Go out, hit them. I need to sell 20 more of these services. Go. You can leverage things out there that and all of it works for your good. I don't understand why you would cripple yourself by putting this fake animosity in between sales and marketing.
Well, and here's the thing. I don't think it was animosity. What I've seen is it's just a lack of forward thinking. So they're marketing people. And like I said to you before, we get leads from the companies and they need to do whatever they want with the leads. So I responded to her. I said, well, you guys are spending all this time coming up with these great leads for your companies. I think you should talk about how they should be able to sell them. So we went back and forth and she agreed. She's like, you know what? All right. I kind of agree. She's like, she was reluctant though. She's like, all right, I've got an opening. I'll reluctantly have you give a talk. Guess what I named the talk?
What?
The first thing they saw on the screen. What the heck is a sales guy doing in a marketing seminar? That was the name of my talk. She contacted me the next day, and it was the most watched talk of the whole day.
I'm
So
sure.
I said, well, that should tell you something.
Especially because as a marketer, sales feels scary and mysterious. As a marketer, content marketer, now that marketing, we've gone through lots of different types of marketing, but now that marketing in 2021 is about content marketing and inbound marketing, we get to hide behind our content. We don't have to talk to nobody. Like, I could write blogs, I could write social media posts, I could write emails, right? I don't want to talk to you. Sales, that's the bold part. When you are really focused and intentional about landing those deals, and you're like, I need support from the people who are brave enough to actually talk to somebody, pick up the phone and call somebody, go out and visit somebody, right? Mm-hmm. And marketers, we aren't gonna do that. If we were, we would be salespeople. I just think that if you're all working on the same team, the magic that could create is huge. I actually just hired a new salesperson, and I'm excited about it because she's gonna pick up the phone, and I'm not gonna do that.
So a salesperson to get business for you. Yeah, good for you. Absolutely, terrific. Okay, so you mentioned pre-call. We're getting. I can't believe how much time has gone by so quickly. And we're going to get to the Ask Alan segment. But you mentioned something that you wanted to talk about some social media thing that you were doing.
Yes. So right now,
what is that?
I am really. It's fueled a little bit by some snarkiness. Because I'm tired.
Why doesn't that surprise me?
I'm tired of looking out into the world and seeing horrible social media. I had someone contact me who is now my client, and she said, I need help with my social media. And I looked at her Instagram account, and I'm thinking to myself, yes, you do. But I didn't say that. I said, well, what do you think? Like, why are you coming to me? What problem are you trying to solve? And she was like, well, look at it. It's horrible. I pay someone $2,000 a month. I was like, $2,000 a month? What? And it was like shots on people's phones, captions that were 10 words long, 2 hashtags, no strategy, posting 3 times a week. And I said,
$2,000 a month. Wow.
$2,000 a month. I was like, the problem with social media pricing, and I've even asked in the story brand community, I said, how much y'all charge? Let's be real. And it's like the wild, wild west, because social media management is still a relatively young part of the whole marketing mix. So we're still trying to find the footing on some more normalized pricing. So she didn't know. And there are people that said 2,000. There are people that are also be like, I'll do it for $50. So it's a mix of people, and you don't know what you're going to get. So I said, okay, look, for $9.97 a month, I'll give you 30 captions. I'll give you an overall content strategy. I'll give you images, and we'll create your graphics, and we'll do 30 hashtags related to your 5 content pillars every month, and we'll schedule and post them for you. And she said, that's not like $2,000. I said, no, it's not $2,000. It's $9.97. And she said, but that's more than I got. It was like a do not compute moment. She goes, well, but more than what she's giving me for $2,000. I said, I know. But I don't roll that way. First of all, I feel like social media should still be fun. If you're a business owner and you run social media for yourself, you realize it's no longer fun. The fun left a long time ago when you were trying to figure out, what the hell am I going to say to these people today to try to get
right, exactly. What am I going to post today?
What am I going to post today? I was just like, you know what? We're going to take away this writer's block that you got going on. We're going to take away your I don't have any photos that you got going on. We're going to take away all this time because, again, at the very, 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 very beginning of this podcast, I said, I'm getting into this business because I want to help business owners, help others be their best selves, live their best moments, do their best work. And you can't do that if you're sitting there for hours trying to figure out what you're going to post on social media, and you spend all that time and it's still not bringing you business. Right. So yes, my social media content, and services. We have custom social media content and services. We do it for $9.97, which, it's the Wild West, but it's generally cheaper than the average bear.
Yeah.
And I do it because I want to see you focus on other parts of your marketing, first of all. And I can go on to a whole spiel about how Instagram cannot be your whole marketing strategy.
Mm-mm.
And I want you to be able to actually do what you set out to do and get leads from Instagram because you're using content that actually builds up your messaging platform as a helpful expert. That's my goal with social media.
Man, we have to have a conversation outside of this podcast. But
hey, as long as I can still drink my whiskey, I'm here for it.
That is definitely something I can guarantee. Okay, so that's awesome. Before we get to the end, and you can tell everybody where they can find fabulous Aleya, here is the question of the week.
Okay.
And this question comes from Jessica, who is in Cape Cod. She is near me, about an hour away. And I love very succinct, as a copywriter myself, I love getting to the point, and Jessica gets to the point. She writes, "Let's talk email strategies, exclamation point." Doesn't even start with a question. She's just telling me what to talk about.
Tell me, we're doing this.
We're doing this.
Love it, Jessica.
What are your best tips for email marketing? That's all I want to know. Exclamation point. That was her email. I thought that was so good. I'm like, Jessica, you're getting a free book from me, but you're Jessica the perfect person to ask.
For that question. It was awesome.
So what are your best, give us your top 3 tips for email marketing, if that's possible.
Only 3. Okay, hold on. I have a whole course on email marketing. Let me break this down into 3 things. The first thing is that your lead generator needs to get someone a quick win. You can't have a lead generator that's too fluffy that people don't feel like they owe you something after they get the information.
I love that.
What your lead generator pulls on is the emotional trigger of reciprocity. I give you something, you give me something, we all are getting the things. So you're giving them a lead magnet that makes them feel so compelled to at least get on a call with you. I mean, look at all the great information she gave me. At least I can get on a call with her. So it needs to be valuable, it needs to be succinct to the point, and it needs to pull on that trigger of reciprocity. The next thing is your emails need to sound like you. They need to sound authentic. If you normally talk like normal human beings do, I don't want your email to say, "Hi there, business owner. Today I'd like to talk to you about the objections I feel like you might have to my service." Come on. Right? Like, no one talks like that. You need to sound like you. The purpose of your email sequence, especially the one that after they download your lead magnet, is to build know, like, and trust. You're trying to get them to know you. Another thing that people make mistakes on is thinking that the email needs to be freaking War and Peace. Like, people aren't reading 1,000-word emails. What you need to do is figure out how to say your email. If you start off with 500 words, can you say it in 2? Mm-hmm. Because that email will actually get read. The purpose of your subject line is to get people to open the email. The purpose of your first line of the email is to get people to read the second line. Mm-hmm. So if your first line of your email is, "Hi, how are you?" I already am not going to read the second line. Mm-hmm. Be interesting. Be provocative. Be captivating. Throw in a GIF. Whatever you need to do to get people to understand that you understand their problem right off the bat. Also, this is way more than 3, but where it is what it is.
That's good. Keep going.
You want to use visual language. So you can say something like, "Most business owners want to get more money with marketing, but the problem is they don't know how to market their services because they only focus on their craft." True statement, right? That actually is the baseline brand script, start of the brand script for my company. Mm-hmm. Opposed to that, what you could say in an email is, "So your bank account on zero? Yeah, I thought so. Would you like to have more money in it? I can teach you how to do that."
You might be reading that email.
A little bit more interesting, right? Don't have as many commas as you wanted that bank balance. Are you checking it? You getting those alerts from Wells Fargo, hoping and praying that it's not saying overdraft? Let's talk about it. That's how you write captivating copy. It's things that people experience in real life, which is why empathy, you cannot be a copywriter without empathy. You cannot be a copywriter or a marketer or a strategist without putting yourself in the shoes of your client. I was talking to another story brand guy, and they call me a method copywriter, like a method actor, because if I'm writing an email sequence for a coach who's trying to sell a retreat that's in Cabo, I can't do it if I'm freezing and bundled up in blankets. I turn the heater on, I put some shorts and sandals on, and I put myself in what would that feel like.
Wow.
Right? Method, like how can you get into the shoes of your customer and say it so they experience it and it hits them in their head, their heart, or their gut. If they're just reading it with their eyes, they're not going to come with their hands to their pocketbook. It's not how that works.
Not going to happen.
So your emails need to touch them to the point where they were like, well, shit, take my money already then. Damn. That's the feeling that you want your emails to have when you're doing email marketing.
Jessica, you just got a lot of money worth of advice right there. I'm telling you for free. That was really good stuff. I had a really cool marketer on. She's been doing it for 20 years, and her specialty is emails. And her name is Lorraine Ball. But she had one of the funniest lines I ever heard. So she did a whole presentation for me on my networking group about email subject lines.
Oh, nice.
And she's like, you think of email subject lines almost like tabloid headlines.
Yeah.
To kind of catch your attention. She goes, the best tabloid headline ever, she goes, was by the New York Post back in the 70s, before there was any computers or anything, where they actually had to send the guy out or the girl out to go cover the story. So there was a murder that happened in a strip club, basically, out on Long Island. So they send the reporter out, and he's on the phone trying to figure out what happened. And it turns out that the poor woman who was killed was actually decapitated.
Oof.
Guess what the headline was the next day?
I'm not even going to try.
Headless body found in topless bar. She goes, it was one of their most selling newspapers ever because of that headline.
But I want to point out something about that headline. It's super clear. He didn't try to be Hemingway with the headline. It was actually dumb clear.
Clear, right? Exactly.
And that's what marketing is. If you can market as dumb as possible, you're making a lot of money.
Yeah, and that's what Donald Miller says. It's like, look at your website. If it doesn't say what you do in the first 5 seconds, then no one's going to read it.
No one's going to read. And so many websites do not say what you do. So
terrible.
many.
Terrible. Like where's the call to action? What do they do? How's this going to make my life better? Anyway, Aleya, this has been amazing. I wish I had 2 more hours to talk to you, but we're definitely going to talk again after this is over. But
absolutely,
since we have to say goodbye on the podcast, tell everyone how they can get in touch with you if they want to hire you to do some social media marketing or whatever, or just have a conversation, because you're awesome. So where do they find you?
Thank you. You guys can follow my Instagram at Aleya Harris, ALEYAHARRIS. You can also go to my website at flourishmarketing.co. That's .co, not .com, because that is not me. You can also go to the socialmediapantry.com, where I love social media so much, it has its own website.
Social Media Pantry? What is that?
Yeah, the socialmediapantry.com is where I house my social media membership that's specifically designed for wedding planners, called the Social Media Collective. And then the socialmediapantry.com is also where you can see my custom social media solutions for anybody, wedding planners, creatives, t-shirt lines, makeup artists, whoever you are.
Sales trainers?
Sales trainers, absolutely.
I'll tell you about my social media strategy offline someday. So
okay.
It's better than you would think, but it still could use some work. But anyway,
I'm a little nervous, but I'm all ears.
Here's a little hint. I got onto TikTok in December, and I freaking love it. It's like my second largest lead generator is TikTok for me right now.
Don't let me knock your hustle.
Crazy, right? My 12-year-old is very jealous. All right, Aleya Harris, this has been awesome. Thank you for joining us on Marketing and Sales Over Cocktails. One more cheers to you. Any final words for our awesome audience listening tonight?
Cheers. Just keep being great. I'm wishing everybody lots of love and lots of light.
All right, awesome. Aleya, have fun over in Los Angeles. We're definitely going to talk again. And that'll wrap it up for me and you guys on Marketing and Sales Over Cocktails, episode 59. Remember, go to the website, marketingandsalespodcast.com. All the episodes are there. Aleya will be there as well, obviously. And go to the Ask Alan section to send me the question. And Jessica gets a free signed copy of my book. You can as well. And also leave a review. More reviews, the more people find this and the more fun everybody has. So everyone, thanks for joining us tonight. And we will see you again next time.